It was our wedding anniversary again, and I caught Ethan Caldwell cheating. He was lying on our bed, holding his sexy secretary, Jessica Stone, his tone dismissive. "You're way more fun than that Sophia Bennett woman. She's like a dead fish in bed, no matter what you do, it's no fun." The moment the door opened, the first thing on Ethan Caldwell's face was impatience, not guilt. "You're not going to make a big scene again, are you? You're not a teenager anymore, you're not young. Playing this dramatic, all-or-nothing game for love just irritates me. You won't get any pity from me." He took off his wedding ring and scoffed, "Worst case, you can go find someone too. An open marriage. Happy now?" I turned and left in silence. He was right. At my age, I shouldn't be acting like love was everything. As he wished, I stopped asking about his affairs. I took in a younger man, the jealous type. But Ethan Caldwell regretted it. The door slammed shut with a bang. As if annoyed that I had interrupted their fun, Ethan Caldwell threw out a final word as he left with the secretary, "Boring." Leftovers from their meal were on the polished marble table, along with unfinished red wine and candles that had almost burned down. Clothes were scattered on the floor. What kind of intimate act had taken place was obvious. I looked at the wedding ring Ethan Caldwell had tossed carelessly on the floor. Unlike the dozens of times before, I didn't humbly pick it up and beg him to put it back on. Instead, I laughed suddenly, pretending not to see it. My heart was long numb. An assistant's message popped up on the screen, "Mrs. Caldwell, I've delivered the candlelight dinner and gift you ordered." The CEO himself signed for it. He even complimented my work. "Wishing you a happy wedding anniversary. Enjoy! Enjoy!" I curled my lips. I had indeed been enjoyed, but I wasn't the leading lady. With no desire to sleep in the mansion after my husband's tryst with another woman, I grabbed my ID and drove away. I wandered the streets for a long time, unable to find anywhere to go. 5 years ago, my family went bankrupt, and my mother was chased by debt collectors to a cliff and died. My father, in order to get help from the Caldwell family, got me drunk and sent me to Ethan Caldwell's bed. Afterwards, he bought trending topics online to force the Caldwells to marry me. Ethan Caldwell and I had no feelings for each other to begin with. The marriage was born of calculation. Even though I tried hard to please him all these years, he never once looked my way. My father married Eleanor the year after my mother died. Knowing full well that I had no home to return to, I still found myself automatically arriving at my doorstep. As soon as I walked in, the butler started to call out to me. I raised a hand to stop him and walked forward step by step. Before I even opened the door, I saw the family of 3 eating together through the huge floor-to-ceiling window. David Bennett was smiling as he gave Leo Bennett, Eleanor's son, a limited edition toy car, his face full of happiness. The boy was so excited by the toy car he didn't even eat his food, just grabbed the car and ran around the room. I suddenly remembered when I was 8, and I wanted a drink during dinner. David Bennett sternly reprimanded me, "When you're eating, just eat properly. Don't make silly demands and don't talk. You have no manners. How did your mother raise you?" Even with the sound of cicada chirping in my ears, I felt a chill as if all the blood had drained from my body. Eleanor looked at David Bennett, feigning difficulty. "Your son-in-law just called again saying Sophia is arguing with him. I'm not Sophia's real mother. Maybe you should go talk to her?" Hearing my name, David Bennett instantly became impatient. "Arguing again? It's just about him sleeping around. What man doesn't mess around? Besides, your son-in-law has said that the position of Mr. S. Caldwell will always be hers. I don't know what there is to argue about." Eleanor sighed, "Someone raised without a mother's guidance, she doesn't know how to handle things properly. Our company has a big deal to sign with the Caldwells next month. How awkward will it be if she makes a fuss like this? If she can't hold on to her husband's heart, she just makes trouble for no reason." The butler stood by awkwardly, wanting to knock on the door to warn them, but I shook my head to stop him. I turned and left without a moment's hesitation. I should have known long ago, from the day my father personally sent me to Ethan Caldwell's bed. I no longer had a home of my own. Entering a coffee shop, I chose a seat in the farthest corner. Tears flowed uncontrollably. My father's angry phone call came in. You came back just now? Why didn't you say something beforehand? Why did you come back? Did you make trouble with your son-in-law again? I told you, you're so dramatic. You were the shameless one throwing yourself at him in the first place. It's already good enough that he married you. What else do you want? My own father felt no guilt for the words he had just spoken. Instead, his first reaction was to blame me for coming home. I suppressed my sobs and said, "Didn't you get me drunk and send me to Ethan Caldwell's bed that night? When did it become me throwing myself at him?" David Bennett was instantly speechless but quickly recovered. If it wasn't because you liked Ethan Caldwell, how could I have resorted to such a plan to fulfill your wish? Don't act ungrateful. If I hadn't done that, would you have the life of luxury you have now? Be smart and go apologize to your son-in-law right now. Don't argue with him about his affairs again. I truly didn't have the strength to listen to the rest of my father's words. I hung up the phone directly, staring blankly ahead. I had a crush on Ethan Caldwell for 6 years since high school, silently admiring the whole time, never crossing the line, let alone throwing myself at him. But Eleanor secretly read my diary and told my father that Ethan Caldwell, the Caldwell heir, and I were high school and college classmates. My father, to save his company, tricked Ethan Caldwell into meeting under the pretense of old classmates catching up. From then on, I was forced to carry labels like manipulative, drugged someone to force marriage, and shameless. But now, I wasn't willing to live under these accusations anymore. That deal next month must be secured. If you don't keep your son-in-law happy, don't expect to get your mother's remains. My mind went blank, a roaring in my ears. I trembled with anger but was helpless. My mother had been chased to her death over the cliff by my father's debt collectors, falling into the deep pool below. We never had the money to hire a rescue team to retrieve her body. 3 months ago, my father finally agreed to pay to retrieve my mother, but he had been delaying sending anyone. Now, he was using it to threaten me. I took a few deep breaths to control myself before typing a reply, "Okay, but you must give me Mom within 7 days." I proactively sent Ethan Caldwell a message. He didn't reply, but typing briefly appeared. A hot coffee was placed in front of me. I looked up to see a young, handsome face. He smiled, left his phone number, and didn't say anything else. I looked away, waiting for Ethan Caldwell's reply, but there was still no movement from his end. But I didn't have the energy to overthink. Once I was sure he was looking at his phone, I called him. His voice was light and mocking. "TSK, I just finished with Jessica Stone and you can't wait to call and beg me to come home? Sophia Bennett, are you going to follow me around like a lapdog no matter what I do?" My pride made me want to hang up, but I knew I wasn't in a position to talk about pride now. I knew Ethan Caldwell loved seeing me humble myself and plead with him, so I softened my tone. "Yes, please come back. I have something to tell you." Ethan Caldwell sneered, "What could you possibly want? Just to beg me to break it off with Jessica Stone? If it's not Jessica Stone, it'll be another secretary. You don't interest me, you can't stop me from finding fun elsewhere, can you?" I didn't understand how he, as a husband, could talk about cheating so matter-of-factly. Getting no response from me, Ethan Caldwell suddenly let out a disdainful huff from his nose. "You're not crying again, are you? Do you think your tears still move me? When I see your tears, I just feel annoyed. Nothing else. Say whatever you need to say over the phone. I don't have time to come back." As if to prove his point, I heard a woman's soft moan from his end. My breath hitched. Remembering those 6 years of secret crush felt heartbreaking. But mostly, it was just helplessness and exhaustion. Back when my father exposed our one-night stand, I personally explained everything to Ethan Caldwell and even agreed to attend a press conference to clarify for him. It was Ethan Caldwell who stopped me and said he would marry me. My reflection briefly appeared in his deep blue eyes. I mistakenly thought it was love. I fantastically thought this marriage was a happy accident. But after we married, Ethan Caldwell personally shattered my fantasy. He trampled on my dignity again and again, even hating me fiercely. "Your family is going under, so you're finding ways to cling to me. You pretended to want to clarify things, but in reality, you wanted more. I hate manipulative women the most. I could never love you. I explained 1,000 times, but Ethan Caldwell still believed I had orchestrated the whole thing. Over time, I became so numb I was too tired to explain. I bit my tongue to snap myself out of the memory. That deal my father has next month, can you sign it quickly? Ethan Caldwell on the other end of the phone pause. Ed, his face instantly darkening. I could even hear his breathing become heavier. He always thought I was greedy for the Caldwell family assets and hated it most when I asked him for things. He probably misunderstood something again. But I didn't care to explain. I controlled my tone and repeated it softly. Ethan Caldwell flicked the ash from his cigarette, his eyes deep. Yes, but you need to bring me a box of condoms right now. Grand Regency Hotel, Penthouse Suite 1. Once I've had my fun, I'll give the deal to your father. Something shattered inside me with a bang. But there was also a sense of relief. I don't know how I agreed, but the next thing I knew, I was at the door of the suite. Inside, I could hear sounds of intimate entanglement. I knocked several times, but there was no response. I heard Jessica Stone's barely concealed delight as she probed, "CO, won't I get pregnant without protection? I don't want to be a single mom." Ethan Caldwell said indifferently, "If you get pregnant, just have it." My legs felt numb from standing before Ethan Caldwell finally opened the door. Hickeys and scratches on his collar showed how intense the battle had been. He scanned me from head to toe. He smiled and said, "Looks like your parents talked some sense into you. You can stand outside and listen to the show without crying or making a scene." "Good, keep it up." I nodded. "You were right about the open marriage. It's not my place to stop you from having fun." He sneered, "Took you long enough to figure that out." He called his company's vice president right in front of me and instructed him to sign the deal with my father immediately. Satisfied with the result, I placed the item in his hand and turned to leave. Ethan Caldwell watched my retreating back, then suddenly frowned and let out a cold laugh. 3 days later, my father finally called to inform me that my mother's remains had been located and would be retrieved soon. He laughed and said, "You helped Dad get the deal, and Dad helped you find Mom. If you had just behaved yourself earlier, Dad would have made money to retrieve your mother sooner. Consider this a lesson for you. Don't throw tantrums in the future." I responded with a detached okay and prepared to drive there myself to watch. But as I opened the door, I saw Jessica Stone holding a large bouquet of roses. She pushed the flowers towards me with a forced smile. "Mrs. Caldwell, the CEO said this is your reward for learning your lesson. A limited edition Ferrari is also on its way and will arrive shortly. Are you going out?" I'm severely allergic to pollen. As soon as I smelled the roses, my breathing became restricted. I raised my hand to knock the roses away and stepped back, frowning as I snapped, "Get away from me." Jessica Stone looked at me with feigned grievance. "Mrs. Caldwell, didn't you agree to the CEO yesterday? Why are you making things difficult for me again?" She picked up the roses from the floor and walked towards me. I raised my hand to stop her, but her expression changed. She grabbed my wrist and shoved the roses into my face. Thorns scratched my cheek. I was suffocating from the pollen and could only gasp for air. Jessica Stone tilted her head innocently. "Mrs. Caldwell, aren't you curious which road the Ferrari is being delivered on?" A bad feeling instantly arose in my heart, but I still forced myself to take the asthma medication I kept in my bag. She leaned in and whispered in my ear, "Highway 360. I heard there's a construction crew retrieving something there. If the driver hauling the Ferrari happens to fall asleep and hit something, it's possible, isn't it?" Her eyes were filled with malice. I instinctively slapped her face. "How dare you? I'll kill you." Before I could raise my hand again, Ethan Caldwell grabbed my wrist with a furious look. "I thought you had changed, but you're still bullying people with influence behind my back. Do you think you can just push people around because you're Mrs. Caldwell?" Jessica Stone hid in Ethan Caldwell's arms, pretending to be wronged. "CO, I followed your instructions and brought Mrs. Caldwell the roses, but she called me a little bitch and said you were hers. She insisted on ruining my face and wanted to kill me. My head hurts so much, my face hurts so much, am I going to be disfigured?" "Boo-hoo." Ethan Caldwell shot me a look of disgust. I'm yours? You wish. He looked at the slap mark on Jessica Stone's face with heartache, his tone cold. If Jessica Stone's face is injured, then you can forget about keeping yours. He left, holding Jessica Stone, without looking back once. A news notification popped up on my phone: vehicle overturns on Highway 360, colliding with salvage crane. Retrieval impossible, area sealed off. I stood frozen, and after a long time, I suddenly started to laugh. Ethan Caldwell took Jessica Stone to the hospital. The doctor awkwardly examined her. Sorry, we didn't find anything, no external injuries. Jessica Stone feigned weakness, but I still feel a little uncomfortable. Ethan Caldwell couldn't help but think of the scratches on Sophia Bennett's face just now, and he felt a surge of irritation. The doctor said there's nothing wrong. Stop faking it. Jessica Stone froze, wanting to whine, but Ethan Caldwell left her and walked away directly. Ethan Caldwell drove home with a cold face, only to see the housekeeper frantically wiping up spilled water on the floor. He frowned in confusion. Why are you cleaning at this hour? The housekeeper said, Mrs. Caldwell is severely allergic to pollen. Some thoughtless person sent a large bouquet of roses earlier. If Mr. Walker hadn't found Mrs. Caldwell when she fainted, it could have been serious. Ethan Caldwell suddenly remembered the time I had to be rushed to the hospital and revived due to a pollen allergy. A wave of guilt washed over him. But he was still sharp. Mr. Walker? Who is that? He said he was Mrs. Caldwell's friend. He looked quite young. I don't know who he is. Ethan Caldwell felt a pang of panic. He immediately took out his phone and had his assistant track my whereabouts. When he finally found my hospital room, what he saw was a deeply irritating sight. I was lying on the hospital bed with an 4 drip. A young, handsome boy was smiling and kissing my lips. Then he fed me a piece of peeled apple. I didn't resist, instead playfully giving him a look. The boy complained grumpily, I booked a room, but your husband's bouquet of roses ruined the romance. You have to make it up to me when you're discharged. I smiled indulgently and nodded, okay. Ethan Caldwell froze completely. He had suggested an open marriage because he wanted to play around, but he never imagined I would actually do something like this. The ring mark on his finger was very obvious. Ethan Caldwell finally realized he hadn't worn it in almost 2 weeks. Before, no matter how much we argued, as long as he took off his wedding ring, I would humble myself and beg him to put it back on. But this time, I hadn't done anything. Rage and resentment from being betrayed surged through him. Ethan Caldwell kicked the door open with force. The loud bang drew several curious stares. Liam Walker frowned at Ethan Caldwell and asked in surprise, You're the open marriage husband my sister was talking about? Ethan Caldwell's face stiffened, and the accusation that was about to burst out was blocked. Seeing the nurse on rounds approaching quickly, I frowned and said, Ethan Caldwell, don't make a scene. You don't want both companies getting caught up in scandal, do you? His fists clenched, an unnamed fire threatening to consume his insides. Before, he was the only one who could say that to me. He never thought I would say it back. The first time Ethan Caldwell brought a woman home, I argued with him and cried, saying if you didn't have feelings for me, we could just get a divorce. There was no need to torture each other. But he just sneered, I'm just messing around. Is there really a need for divorce? Do you want to see both our companies tangled up in a cheating and divorce scandal? Ethan Caldwell gritted his teeth to keep himself from laying a hand on Liam Walker. Fine, very well. The nurse on rounds pushed her cart closer. Please open the door gently, don't kick it. It will disturb the other patients. She scanned Ethan Caldwell from head to toe and frowned. Are you family? This room only has a Mrs. Chang and her husband. Who are you looking for? I can check for you. Ethan Caldwell's face instantly darkened. He scoffed inwardly and questioned me with his eyes about why Liam Walker was being referred to as my husband. I looked away and didn't explain further. I had fainted because of his roses. If Liam Walker hadn't brought me to the hospital when I was unconscious, I might be gone by now. Liam Walker was affectionate with me, so the nurse naturally mistook us for a couple. Besides, I was unconscious at the time and didn't have a chance to explain. But I didn't plan to tell Ethan Caldwell any of this. It was his business what he wanted to think. Ethan Caldwell suppressed his anger. I'm here to see her. The nurse said, oh, then added, are you her brother? You look quite old. Why are you so angry? Try not to kick doors in the future. After changing my foredrip, she added, please keep quiet in the hospital. You can press the call button if you need anything. Liam Walker tried hard to stifle his laughter but couldn't help but grin after the nurse left. Ethan Caldwell was annoyed by the nurse's words but was afraid of causing a scene that might get filmed and posted online. He looked at me coldly. If you were trying to make me jealous, you won. Make him leave, and I can fire Jessica Stone. Ethan Caldwell held out his hand to me. I frowned in confusion. He said casual. Why, your wedding ring? You must have it on you, waiting for a chance for me to put it back on, right? Now I'll indulge you. Give me the wedding ring. A few seconds later, I finally reacted and chuckled softly, holding up my empty hands. The wedding ring that had always been on my hand was gone. Ethan Caldwell instantly became furious and warned, Sophia Bennett, don't play with fire. Liam Walker stepped in front of me. No wonder my sister doesn't like you. You're so aggressive. Do you have a tendency for domestic violence? Ethan Caldwell slammed the door shut and turned to punch Liam Walker in the face. Liam Walker didn't back down and immediately hit back. What right does a kept man like you have to talk in front of me? Believe it or not, I can make you get out of the country right now. Big talk. Whether I leave or not isn't up to you. If my sister doesn't want me to leave, I'll stay by her side. You're old and still can't keep it in your pants. You have your fun but won't let my sister have hers. Your double standards are despicable. If it wasn't for you, my sister wouldn't be in the hospital. Liam Walker certainly knew how to provoke someone. A few sentences were enough to drive Ethan Caldwell crazy. Ethan Caldwell's eyes turned icy, but he was helpless against Liam Walker. After all, Liam Walker was a Sonda champion. Ethan Caldwell was still standing there because Liam had only used a fraction of his strength. Liam Walker dodged Ethan Caldwell's punches with ease, then grabbed his left hand and said in a sickly sweet tone, if you hurt me, my sister will be heartbroken. Ethan Caldwell's eyes were red with rage. Seeing that the scene was getting out of hand, I said to Liam Walker, stop it for now. I'll talk to him. I'll find you later. Ethan Caldwell's eyes widened. He didn't expect that after all this, I wouldn't immediately break up with Liam Walker, but instead planned to see him later. Liam Walker gave me a reluctant look. Th. And sister, you must remember. As soon as he left, Ethan Caldwell grabbed my neck. Sophia Bennett. How dare you betray me? Ethan Caldwell's eyes were bloodshot, his hate enough to kill. I bit his hand hard and, after breaking free, yelled impatiently, you're the one who said open marriage. Didn't you say yourself I should go find someone too? Ethan Caldwell felt as if all the blood had been drained from his body, but he still argued, I did tell you to find someone, but what right do you have to go find someone? The Ching family still relies on me for income. Do you want to destroy them? Ethan Caldwell's gaze fell on the hickeys on my neck, and his eyes widened in fury. He grabbed the nearby hand sanitizer and started frantically pouring it on me. Believe it or not, I'll make the Ching family go bankrupt. I had lowered myself for the Ching family back then, enduring years of humiliation. He was certain I would humble myself again this time. But I didn't. I said indifferently, suit yourself. Watching his frantic attempts to wipe away the marks left by another man, I just found it laughable. Ethan Caldwell grabbed me, his voice strained, I can fire Jessica Stone, make her leave the company. You must break things off with that kept man. Hearing his entitled tone, I instinctively wanted to retort. But Ethan Caldwell's phone suddenly rang. Ethan Caldwell hung up impatiently, but the call kept coming back persistently. I tilted my head and smiled, what if it's something important? You should answer it. Seeing that the caller was Jessica Stone, Ethan Caldwell glanced at me guiltily, then answered, pretending to be calm. Her voice was joyful, CO, I'm pregnant. Didn't you say if I got pregnant, I should just have it? It's perfect since Mrs. Caldwell can't have children. I'm not ambitious, I don't need anything as long as Mrs. Caldwell is willing to take good care of my child. She was using a tactic of advancing by retreating, thinking Ethan Caldwell would find her understanding. But Ethan Caldwell's brows furrowed sharply. Pregnant? Ethan Caldwell's own mother had almost been driven to death by a mistress's illegitimate child, so he hated illegitimate children the most. That was why he had been careful not to get anyone pregnant despite his affairs over the years. Jessica Stone didn't sense the danger and said smugly, "Yes, you're going to be a father. This is your first child, aren't you happy?" Ethan Caldwell's lips curved into a cold arc. "You think you're worthy of carrying my child?" Jessica Stone froze, stammering, CEO, what do you mean?" Ethan Caldwell's tone was icy. "You have absolutely no sense of what a mistress should know. Don't wish for things that aren't yours. Get an abortion and get out immediately." Jessica Stone gasped in disbelief, resentment flashing in her eyes, but she meekly and tearfully agreed, "Okay, if the CEO doesn't want this child, I can have an abortion." Ethan Caldwell scoffed and hung up. On the other end, Jessica Stone quickly packed her bags and documents, ready to flee the country to have the child. But before she could leave the neighborhood, she was forcefully pulled into a car by a group of men in black suits. A cold anesthetic needle was injected into her, and Jessica Stone instantly lost consciousness. Ethan Caldwell called his assistant in front of me and ordered him to handle Jessica Stone and the child in her womb. After doing all this, he looked at me as if expecting praise. "Wife, only you can have my children. See? I've had Jessica Stone taken care of." I looked at Ethan Caldwell with indifferent eyes, finding him both crazy and ignorant. Forced abortion is illegal, but I didn't stop him. Putting aside the grudge of Jessica Stone plotting to keep my mother forever at the bottom of the cold deep pool, Ethan Caldwell alone couldn't tolerate the existence of this illegitimate child. Seeing my cold expression, Ethan Caldwell's eyes reddened. "Just say the word, and I promise I'll settle down and never mess around again." I had waited many years for Ethan Caldwell to say those words. Now, they came too late. Instead of being moved, I felt a little annoyed. "You were the one who said we could each do our own thing. What, you regret it now?" For the first time, Ethan Caldwell showed a helpless and wronged expression. "Yes, I regret it. Didn't you say you would wait for me forever? I can't accept you being close to another man. I'm jealous, I'm envious, I'm going crazy with hate. Sophia, can we please stop being difficult with each other?" He grabbed my hand, his eyes filled with longing. I looked at him in surprise. "Being difficult?" "Yes." Ethan Caldwell's gaze was sincere. "You've always been in my heart. I was just angry that you plotted against me. I was afraid all you wanted was the money and power behind me. I tested you over and over to figure out my place in your heart. Everything I did was because I was being difficult with you. I know you didn't really keep a kept man. It's okay, I'm not angry. But can you please not try to provoke me like this in the future? It really hurts me." This was the first time Ethan Caldwell had said so many words to me at once. I saw pleading and longing in his eyes, but I only wanted to ignore it. He thought he could erase years of my suffering with a single word about being difficult? There was no such easy way in the world. Furthermore, I no longer had any feelings for him. "You can either accept us still doing our own thing, or we get a divorce if you can't." At these words, Ethan Caldwell's handsome face instantly crumbled. After a long time, he looked at me with a bitter smile. "You're joking, right?" I had made myself so clear, yet he still didn't understand. A strange weariness made me lose all patience. "Can't you just let me go? I'm allergic to pollen, but you had someone send me roses. If you wanted me dead, you should have just said so. There was no need for this." He opened his mouth blankly, and after a long time, he finally managed to say, I forgot, I didn't do it on purpose. It's a good thing you're okay now, otherwise, do you know what I thought when I saw you leave with Jessica Stone?" I interrupted Ethan Caldwell, my face calm. He didn't dare reply, pleading, "Don't say it, Sophia, it's my fault." I sneered, ignoring his wishes. I wasn't sad, I wasn't hurt. More than anything, I was relieved. "It's a good thing you left without looking back, otherwise, I wouldn't have figured it out." After being with Liam Walker, I finally understood the happiness you had before. You can't be so selfish, having your fun and then demanding I remain chaste. These words, so similar to his own, reached Ethan Caldwell's ears. He looked at me in pain. Instead of clinging to an icy husband who has hurt me countless times, it's better to have fun with a young, handsome man. Hearing this, Ethan Caldwell could no longer hold back and grabbed my wrist. Sophia Bennett, how could you become so slutty? He gritted out the word, his eyes filled with heartache, as if lamenting a virtuous woman who had turned into a degenerate slut. I laughed. Didn't you teach me? He was used to being arrogant, even when he was willing to humble himself, it was only temporary. I sneered and shook off Ethan Caldwell's hand. If you can't handle it, get a divorce. Ethan Caldwell's refined, handsome face twisted with anger. He glared at me, then suddenly laughed. You wish. Do you think the Caldwell family is somewhere you can just come and go as you please? Since you won't behave, don't blame me for using some strong-arm tactics. Ethan Caldwell wrapped me up in the blanket. Perhaps only having a child will make you behave. He instructed his assistant to prepare a private estate with tight security and had various chains and restraints custom-made in front of me. It was clear he intended to keep me as a caged bird. I struggled fiercely, yelling like a lunatic, Ethan Caldwell. This is illegal imprisonment. You'll regret this. Ethan Caldwell carelessly picked up a strand of my hair near my ear, wrapped it around his well-defined fingers a few times, and gave a slight tug. Go ahead and try. In all of Coastwood, who would dare touch me? I'll take you back and hide you. Even your own father won't be able to reach you. My scalp hurt from the pulling, but it was nothing compared to the fear in my heart. I suddenly realized that Ethan Caldwell and I were never equals. He held the life and death of the Ching family in his hands and controlled everything in Coastwood. That was why he could talk about an open marriage so recklessly. He thought I wouldn't dare to actually do anything, but he never expected I would take in Liam Walker. Ethan Caldwell warned, call that bastard right now, in front of me, and tell him to get lost immediately. I gritted my teeth and glared at him. The call was connected, but I refused to say a single word. Ethan Caldwell's eyes were cold. I tried talking to you nicely, but you wouldn't listen. Don't blame me for using force. Knock, knock, knock. The door was knocked on. Ethan Caldwell's assistant entered, head bowed. The estate and the things you requested are ready. The cars and bodyguards are waiting downstairs. Should I have them come up? Ethan Caldwell smiled and said, no need. I'll carry Mrs. Caldwell downstairs myself. His tone was doting, but his eyes were dark. Just as I was about to scream for help from the hospital staff to call the police, the door was suddenly kicked open. The assistant by the door was instantly subdued, and a dark muzzle was pointed at Ethan Caldwell. Ethan Caldwell froze. Seeing the person leading the group, his eyes instantly blazed with fury. Liam Walker? You dare call the police? You've got guts. Ethan Caldwell paid no attention to the dozen or so SWAT officers who rushed in with Liam Walker, his eyes filled with disdain. My sharp eyes spotted the badge on Liam Walker's shoulder. My eyes widened in disbelief. Ethan Caldwell threatened, who dispatched you? Is it illegal for me to take my own wife home from the hospital? Ethan Caldwell tried to use a marriage certificate to restrict my freedom, but everyone present looked indifferent and unaffected. Liam Walker stepped forward, pushed Ethan Caldwell aside, and personally pulled me into his arms. Ethan Caldwell gritted his teeth and wanted to attack, but a gun was pressed against his forehead again. He raged impotently. Whose command are you under? Do you want to face disciplinary action for responding to a call without cause? Liam Walker looked at Ethan Caldwell coldly. You think I was scared growing up where I did? Never mind your wife, illegal detention is against the law even if it was your mother. Liam Walker played a recording from his phone. I knew you were shady, but I didn't expect you'd go as far as personal imprisonment. Ethan Caldwell finally realized these weren't ordinary officers. Sweat broke out on his forehead. Who are you? Liam Walker took out his ID. Director of the 3rd Special Police District, Liam Walker. That shipment your company was transporting to the dock has been seized. Cooperate with the investigation, or we'll have to handle this on site. I looked at Liam Walker in confusion, but he covered my head and pulled me back into his embrace. Through a gap, I saw many red dots aimed at Ethan Caldwell's body. Remembering Liam Walker's words when he introduced himself, a chill went down my spine. Back in school, some people said the Caldwell family's background wasn't clean, and they had many ways of making money. But it was all just rumors. I always thought Ethan Caldwell's company made huge profits every year because of his outstanding personal ability. I never imagined it would be related to illegal activities. Sweat beaded on my palms. I couldn't help but wonder if the encounter at the coffee shop that day was deliberately orchestrated by Liam Walker. Was he approaching me to take down Ethan Caldwell, or for something else? I didn't dare to risk it and wanted to push Liam Walker away to keep my distance. But he forcefully held me tighter in his arms. After Ethan Caldwell and the bodyguards waiting downstairs at the hospital were all apprehended, Liam Walker sighed and looked at me with a wronged expression. "Sister, are you doubting my sincerity?" In a secluded corner, he lowered his head and buried it against my neck. Although the investigation required some tactics, we never sell our bodies. I've been completely taken advantage of by my sister. If my sister doesn't take responsibility for me, I'm afraid I'll become second-hand goods no one wants. My suspicion instantly turned into exasperation. I angrily punched him in the chest. Liam Walker immediately played along, covering his chest and groaning in pain. After rolling my eyes at him several times, I said in a gentle tone, "Stop fooling around. I don't doubt you anymore, and I won't abandon you." Liam Walker instantly turned into a happy puppy, smiling as he pulled a piece of paper from his pocket. "Then it's a promise. Give the divorce papers to Ethan Caldwell right now. If he doesn't agree, I'll help you sue for divorce." I was dumbfounded. I didn't expect Liam Walker to have even prepared this. Liam Walker spoke negatively about the Caldwells. "Don't be reluctant to leave him. The Caldwell family has done nothing but bad things. Their money-making methods aren't clean. Otherwise, how could Ethan Caldwell, a regular CEO, have such criminal connections, constantly resorting to forced imprisonment and having people taught lessons?" I was speechless again. I picked up the divorce papers and tore them up. "Ethan Caldwell won't divorce me. Just file a lawsuit." Liam Walker's yes sparkled. "Yay! I'll immediately have my buddy draft the lawsuit for you. He's a top-tier lawyer." I felt embarrassed. When I met Liam Walker at the coffee shop, I thought he was just a handsome guy working a regular job. I never expected his identity to be complicated, that he was an undercover agent. Thanks to Liam Walker's lawyer friend, I received the divorce decree in less than a month. Because the Caldwell family's assets were all seized, I didn't get anything, but Liam Walker gave me everything he had. After the first rain of summer, everyone involved in the Caldwell case was sentenced. Ethan Caldwell persistently wrote me many letters, but I didn't read any of them. Liam Walker, being petty, burned the letters and told the butler to throw away any future mail with that name on it. When I first got divorced, my father thought I was bad luck and wouldn't let me come home, saying all the family assets were for the son my stepmother had. Later, when I married Liam Walker, my father heard about it from somewhere and eagerly came to our door with heavy gifts. "My dear son-in-law, you have such great achievements in the government. Please don't forget about Leo in the future. My daughter is always so opinionated, she didn't even notify me about her second marriage." Before I could even tell him to leave, Liam Walker stepped in front of me. "My wife is an only child, where would she get a brother-in-law? Butler, throw these fools who are sponging off us out." My father was thrown out and became a laughingstock. My stepmother was also exposed by former acquaintances as a serial mistress. Even before my mother died, she was already involved with my father and had previously been a secretary for several other bosses and had abortions. My father went crazy and beat and cursed her daily, even neglecting her child. He spent every night in nightclubs and bars, having 3 illegitimate children in less than a year. Several women fought over the Chan C to rise in status, and these scandals caused Ching X's stock price to plummet repeatedly. My father was frantic, unable to secure any deals. The day he declared bankruptcy, Liam Walker acquired Ching Corporation and gave it to me. "Your mother helped him build it from scratch back then. Ching Corporation always belonged to you." It took some time, but the result is good. Looking at this man who had eyes only for me, I couldn't stop the tears from falling. Liam Walker frantically wiped away my tears, patiently comforting me. Don't cry. It hurts me to see you cry. The wounds from my previous marriage were all healed by Liam Walker's care. I firmly hugged him back. I love you. My first half of life was completely over. From now on, it was my new life with Liam Walker.